After a brutal and biblical 8-episode journey, Euphoria Season 3, and the show itself, is officially over. After a drama-packed 4-year delay, Euphoria Season 3's controversial premiere arrived on April 12, 2026. Critics and audiences alike pilloried the new season for abandoning the show's dystopian teen drama premise and turning Euphoria into an inexplicably violent western that managed to be as gratuitous as it was dull. Season 3, Episode 8, In God We Trust, doubled down on this formula. Euphoria's main cast of characters were shunted to the side, one fan favorite even had no dialogue, to devote most of the series finale to the last chapter of Alamo and Laurie's cartel war. Alamo emerged as the clear victor upon receiving inadvertent intel from Maddie that Rue was working with the DEA, and he was being set up. Initially, it seemed like the rival crime boss's joint fentanyl smuggling operation went off without a hitch, save Big Eddie apparently stealing Mitch's coke. However, that missing coke was actually a visual clue to the big twist. While Mitch was picking up Alamo's dancers from their plastic surgery operations, Big Eddie and Bishop switched the ambulances. Thus, when the DEA makes their big bust at Laurie's, all they find in the bottom of the vehicle is a dead rat. Fearing imprisonment, Laurie takes her own life while Wayne and Faye bumblingly ride off together, escaping capture and eventually hitchhiking their way out of the series. This leaves just enough time for Zendaya to deliver a likely Emmy-winning performance as the ill-fated protagonist, Rue Bennett, and the other Euphoria characters to reach their frustrating conclusions. Rue overdoses after a fantasy redemption sequence featuring Fesco. Rue's drug addiction was by far her biggest demon in Euphoria, so it really shouldn't come as much of a surprise that she dies via overdose, though her being the casualty of a crime war likely wasn't on the bingo card of any audience member who tuned into the show thinking they were watching a teen drama series. All throughout Euphoria Season 3, Rue is repeatedly dragged to hell and back, and in the anxiety-inducing opening sequence of In God We Trust, this happens quite literally. The show's final episode opens with Faye realizing Rue betrayed her and screaming to wake Wayne up. Rue narrowly escapes the unhinged Nazi, only to be lassoed by one of Laurie's henchmen and dragged several yards in the dirt. Fortunately for Rue, and the audience, this absurd western sequence ends with G shooting the henchman and rescuing the Euphoria protagonist. Save her injuries, Rue thinks she's gotten off scot-free and that this wild double-agent chapter of her life is over. Alamo hails her as a model employee, and she can finally get some rest. There are two irrefutable facts about Rue: she is an addict and, in her own dysfunctional way, a person who wants to do the right thing, hence her spiritual quest throughout Season 3. Thus, she accepts Alamo's drugs and his praise at face value, and in the process, signs her own death certificate. Despite Rue's relapse and Alamo's uncharacteristic kindness towards her after learning of her betrayal, it still seems like she might be okay because she arrives at the safe haven of Ali's apartment. And though it quickly becomes clear that Rue's dream sequence is not a reality, it sheds a bright light that in her dying moments, redemption was still what mattered most to her. The extensive time spent on Fesco was a moving, if out of left field, tribute to the drug dealer with a heart of gold. Actor Angus Cloud died of a drug overdose in 2023. In Rue's fantasy, Fesco escapes the prison where he was serving a life sentence via parkour, and the Euphoria protagonist knows she must answer the call to rescue him. As Rue makes her hallucinatory journey, Euphoria flashes images of what really mattered to her: car rides with her family, riding bikes with her new friend Jules, and enjoying a moment of peace with Fez in a field. Though Rue knows she can't go back to the past, as proven by Fez's shuttered convenience store, in her dying moments, she envisions that she's doing everything she can to brighten the future. In a nod to Rue desperately running away to avoid rehab in Season 2, this time, she evades the police to run toward her house and back to her mother. She finds Leslie in her childhood house, reading the Bible, and reaches out to her. Rue has officially come home. Tragically, though, this is not the case. In Rue's dying moments, she indeed reaches out for her mother, but it's a reach into the void. Rue passes away on Ali's couch, succumbing to the fentanyl that Alamo swapped out the painkillers for. The lethal drug was omnipresent throughout Euphoria Season 3, and sets up a full-circle moment for Rue, who went from body-packing fentanyl as a drug mule in the season premiere to becoming yet another one of its casualties in the season finale. Sam Levinson's defense of Rue's controversial death in Euphoria. Euphoria creator Sam Levinson has spent most of Season 3's airing defending his controversial choices, from Cassie's R-rated fetish scenes to Nate's grisly, horror movie-esque demise. In a post-finale segment on HBO, Levinson discussed Rue's Euphoria death, saying, "It felt like an honest ending. The honest ending is people like Rue don't make it. I think in the end, I wanted to tell an honest story about addiction. I also wanted to tell a story about grief and the emotional turmoil that it can create. There is much truth to Levinson's words, and Euphoria's first 2 seasons certainly capture the grief and the emotional turmoil caused by Rue's addiction. However, ripping the characters out of high school and plunking them into a sensationalized crime drama serves more as an homage to Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas author Hunter S. Thompson than as an honest story about addiction, and this is the core problem with the show's 3rd and final season. While Rue's death may have gone over poorly, the reception to Angus Cloud's tribute was at least decidedly more mixed. Levinson has spoken at length about his close relationship with the late actor and his attempts at helping Cloud beat his addiction. On Fesco's Euphoria Fate and the never-before-seen footage of Cloud and Zendaya in the finale, Levinson said, "I wanted to tell the story for Angus and for people who weren't granted a second chance. No matter the audience's response to the fan-favorite characters.